The possibilities are endless, just amazing. We wanted to thank Harmony Richmond for helping put that event together last week. Extraordinary. The only thing it missed was Mark, MG, doing hip-hop, but that is available in the silent auction coming up over the course of the evening. On that note, the silent auction is still open. That's part of my reason to be here, to tell you, please take out your phones, check out the wonderful items that are available. They will be open and available till 8:15 tonight. Also, coming up a little bit later, we're going to have some wonderful awards to honor some truly amazing people that have done things that really help move GOSO forward. At this point, I want to introduce the Associate Executive Director of GOSO, Sarah Blanco. I had a chance to meet Sarah last year when I visited GOSO, and I was checking out her bio on the website today, and she was asked, you're going to be embarrassed about this, you would never say it about yourself, what was the most memorable moment you've had here? And she says it was when one client came in crying one day and told her, GOSO is the only place I feel good. You all watch out for me. And Sarah watches out for them.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us to celebrate our amazing participants tonight. Ingy is right. This is all about the guys. And thanks for the beautiful speech, Reg. This is the best part of the night, listening to our guys speak about GOSO's impact on their lives and what they are doing to reshape their futures. These guys have so much potential, so for the next three speakers, let's give them a very warm welcome. First, I want to introduce Martin, a truly thoughtful and humble young man. Martin joined GOSO and quickly became a leader in the GOSO community. After a college trip with GOSO staff to Cornell and Binghamton, Martin decided college was his future and is currently enrolled at BMCC studying psychology. Take it away, Martin.
Wow, I'm truly amazed by this crowd. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Martin Garcia, and thank you for listening to my story. I'm 22 years old. I was raised in the Bronx, New York, by a single mother. Throughout my life, I had suffered from bullying, which led me to making a lot of mistakes and even hanging out with the wrong crowd of people. In 2015, my past caught up to me when I was arrested and charged with grand larceny, and I was facing a 7-year penalty in prison. At that time, I was working at Shake Shack, and I managed to get my case pushed back to 2016. When I went back to court, I was given a year of probation, and a few months later, I became unemployed. I went through a phase of self-destruction and deep depression because I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and I was facing 7 years possibly. That's when I reached out to a close friend named Miguel, and I asked Miguel if he knew any jobs that were hiring and programs that I could join. And that's when he recommended GOSO. He knew a lot of programs, but thought GOSO was the best because they treated you like family. The next day, I went to GOSO, I scheduled my intake, and I was impressed with how welcoming everybody was. Chelsea became my career manager, and she told me all the opportunities GOSO presented. After I successfully completed the 2-week curriculum, I took advantage of the opportunities that GOSO presented. By the end of the year, I earned my OSHA in general construction and maintenance, and I also earned my scaffold and flaggers license. I also earned my 8 and 16-hour security certifications. I applied to college, and I'm almost done with my first year at the Borough of Manhattan Community College. Wow. I'm just majoring in psychology. When I went back to court for my final sentence, I was nervous because I didn't know if my efforts were enough. And when I told the judge all I had accomplished, he had decided to close my case. I feel like I was given a second chance at life. But GOSO didn't change my life. It also changed the lives of my friends as well. I've recommended over 10 people to this program, many who have got their GED and are now starting college. my goal is to use psychology, well, earn a degree in psychology to coach young kids to get on track so that they don't make the same mistakes I did. And hopefully, like Chelsea and the GOSO team, help me get to where I want to be at in life. They say when you change one person, you change the world. And in closing, I would like to say, if it wasn't for GOSO, I'd be doing 7 years. And if it wasn't for you guys, there would be no GOSO. Thank you so much.
Wow, if that story doesn't make you want to support GOSO and be a volunteer or support our clients, I don't know what else could. Amazing, Martin. Next, I want to introduce Kendrick. What can I say about Kendrick? He's smart, he's fashionable, he's funny, he's an overall talented guy. While at GOSO, he worked with a tutor and earned his GED. Through GOSO Works, he got an internship with Rochambeau, a high fashion clothing company, and is now working on his own fashion line. When you meet Kendrick, his warm smile and enthusiasm are infectious. Come on up here, Kendrick.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kendrick Burrell, 24 years old. I'm from Harlem, New York. I was raised by a single mother. My dad was incarcerated for most of my life, so it was just my mom, younger brother, Kentrell, and I on our own. Being born and raised in Harlem, I can honestly say it made me gain that hustler spirit. In a good way. I always dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur, but growing up, I did not always have the necessary resources I needed to start my dream. During my sophomore year of high school, I can honestly admit that I was extremely distracted. Only reason is because I was just so busy trying to be the cool guy all the time. I hung out with the wrong crowd and eventually dropped out of school because I struggled with math terribly, and I was just too embarrassed to just face my fears and, get it done. I failed my Regent exam twice. So school was just not an option for me at the time. I was caught smoking pot inside of a residential building with my friends and ended up going to jail for a very long weekend. I never wanted to ever experience that feeling of being in jail ever again. All I could think of was my dad and just how I did not want to, lead down that road. So once I got out, I ended up doing 7 days community service. And it was the longest 7 days of my life, but it was just enough. I decided to head back to school. I joined Mid-Manhattan Learning Center, and my goal was to get my GED. And that's when I bumped into my friend Xavier, who has been an active member at GOSO for a while. He introduced this program to me, and I never really understood what the program was about, but over time, he just kept, pitching this idea of me joining and bettering my life. So in 2016, I became an active member at GOSO. During my first few months at GOSO, I decided to just take on my insecurities with math and study with a tutor for a while. When the exam came up to take my GED, I passed with flying colors. I no longer had those insecurities of, being horrible at math. And it was time for me to work and just start a new chapter in my life. I still held on to my dream of being a young entrepreneur, so all I needed at that moment was a strong foundation to invest. So with GOSO's Ready to Work program, I earned my construction license and started doing construction. As a scaffolder. But it wasn't at all what I expected it to be. So eventually I quit because it wasn't a strong enough foundation to invest. But my mentors, Harmony and Lauren, did not give up on me. They put in a good word for me at this fashion brand called Rochambeau, and it landed me a 6-month internship there. I've learned so much during my time at Rochambeau. I've learned the ins and outs of how to run a profitable online business by the help of lead designer Lawrence Chandler. A month after starting my internship, I finally had the investment money due to saving all the checks I received each week. And thank you. And I invested most of my money into new inventory, and I created a website and named it Ken & Ken after my brother Kentrell and I. Yes. I hadn't seen any real profit though until like 3 months after, but but it was definitely worth it. And as time went on, my internship at Rochambeau was nearly coming to an end. But I can honestly say that I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that GOSO presented to me, because without their help, it would have been extremely challenging for me to start my very own business. So I thank them for that. GOSO, I can honestly say this, you guys are more than a nonprofit organization. You guys are a family to me, a family to all of us. And one day I look forward to giving back and improving the lives of others in a positively way, as you have helped me and many others in that positively way. Thank you.
Good evening, GOSO Gala. My name is Jeffrey Golia. I'm the Director of Clinical Services and GOSO Works, our employment development program. It's good to see you all tonight. GOSO's mission has always been to level the playing field and help our participants reach their goals of education, employment, and emotional well-being. When I was tasked with developing our employment program, now called GOSO Works, I sought to create employment opportunities that could help our participants with those 3 E's through to professional development and eventually financial independence. Our next speaker truly exemplifies the aspirations and goals of our program. From participant to alumni to site supervisor for one of our employment partners, Davon McLean.
Good evening, everybody. All right, bear with me. I really liked what Reg said earlier, just in reference to explaining why some of the reasons why impoverished youth go down the wrong path. I feel like he hit the nail on the head. So thank you for that. Thank you. So as a child, I remember often thinking to myself, I really want to be great. I remember seeing the world as a big race, and I wanted to win. Sometime later on in my adolescence, I began running very fast, only I was running in the wrong direction. Eventually, my poor decisions landed me in prison, and I was sentenced to 5 to 15 years. While incarcerated, life slowed down, way down. I was able to reflect and look at my life in retrospect and all of the decisions that I've made. I spent about 6 months in a military simulated program called SHOCK. The purpose of SHOCK is to help myself and others get into the habit of consistently performing tasks that will benefit us here in the outside world. It's only now that the 5 a.m. runs and the drills and getting screamed at in my face, it's only now that all of that's over that I can say the SHOCK program was great. No, it was really beneficial. After completing the shock program, I was then sent back to a standard prison and later enrolled into another program called Work Release. It was upon my arrival at Work Release, which is based in Harlem, that I discovered GOSO. So yeah. The stipulations of working at Work Releases are, you're still a prisoner, but you're allowed to go into the world and work, you know, and you report back to the prison afterwards. Stepping into the world into the free world as someone who's technically a prisoner it could leave you feeling cold, you know. Fortunately, my arrival at GOSO, it was like really warm. I felt like the staff there were all genuine and really cared about their jobs. People weren't there just watching the clock tick closer to 5, waiting to go home. And I really appreciated that. Yeah. Thank you. It was GOSO that worked with me to find a second job. After finding me my first that wasn't really suitable for me, they found me one that was even better, that I liked. It was GOSO, Harmony Richmond, Jeffrey Golia, Jenna Roth. They connected me to the Horticultural Society of New York City, where I currently work. I guess you can say that it was GOSO that gave me my first initial look at what a positive work environment could look like. I guess you could say GOSO is the reason for me falling in love with the Hort. While working at the Hort, I've applied everything that I learned over the years to maintain discipline and consistency while working effectively and efficiently. I have been lucky enough to go from intern to seasonal to full-time employed in my current position as Workforce Development Manager. I'm both humbled and exponentially grateful for this. So, ever since I was a child, I've wanted to be great. I still do. I want to be great at being myself. I want to be my best me. Both GOSO and the Horticultural Society have contributed immensely to my development as a human being. Thank you. Thanks again to Harmony, Jeffrey. Thanks to MG at GOSO for creating and maintaining a warm, inviting, caring environment packed with valuable resources for myself and others. Thank you to Sarah Hobo, George Pizzagna, Nick Guntley, and Sam Lewis of the Hort for providing an opportunity and placing your trust in me, which in turn encouraged my growth. And finally, I just want to thank all of the GOSO participants that are here, just for your contribution to society and making it through whatever struggles you may have endured. And I wish you all the best in your endeavors. So thank you.
Every year, we honor one GOSO employer partner that has gone above and beyond in their commitment to help our participants achieve their personal and professional goals. Last year, we honored Dos Toros, the best taqueria in New York City, now Chicago, and soon the world. Hey, Toros, stand and be recognized. Woo! There you are. This year, I'm really excited about this. We're honoring our longest tenured employer partner, the Horticultural Society of New York. Or as we say around the office, the Hort. MG, I was crunching numbers the other day. MG asked me to crunch numbers all the time. Since 2013, the Horticultural Society of New York has employed nearly 70 GOSO participants on their green team. Gets better. Nearly 100% of Hort interns earned either employment or education, like their high school equivalency diplomas, after their placement ended. And they liked Davon McLean so much they hired him, which is pretty amazing. These participants learn amazing hard and soft skills with the green team. From the value of hard work and punctuality to pruning and deadheading, it is truly an edifying experience for our participants. Just one more thing before MG comes up here and cuts my mic. The Hort has had an incredible program on Rikers Island since the early 1990s, providing both training and support to incarcerated people through horticulture. Well, while we will be holding an Employer of the Year event in May, we would be remiss if we did not recognize them at our annual gala. So who better to give the award to Sarah Hobel than Davon McLean?
I know these dinners can be long, but I just have to say a few words. I know that the Horticultural Society of New York, I took over about 9 years ago, and my close friends said, those little old ladies in blue hair and the hats, you know, and who do the flower show. And the secret of our organization is that we are primarily a social service organization, and we have been running this program on Rikers Island that does horticultural therapy since actually the late 1980s. And we're very, very picky about who we will work with outside the island. Our program runs 7 days a week. Our participants come 5 of those 7 days, and our staff are intimately involved with the success of each and every one of our participants. And so when they're released from the island, we hoped they would come to work for us at the Green Team, because frankly, we felt we were the only ones who could do a proper job of continuing to help them on their pathway to success. And that was until I met Mark Goldsmith, who you all know as MG. I still refer to him as Mark Goldsmith. Mark is a kindred spirit. I mean, it was clear to me from the beginning, and more important than clear to me, clear to the staff on Rikers Island. Hilda Cruz, who runs that program, that Mark was building an extraordinary program and had secured extraordinary staff to start his internship program. And 2 small, like-minded organizations, we came together and we said, hey, let's take a chance and see how we can go. And we did. And I will say that when Jeffrey Golia came along, things really, really took root. So the staff on my end care so personally about everybody in our Green Team program. Equally, so does everybody at GOSO, and that's what makes this work. So thank you very much for this award. We have learned at the Hort something from every single GOSO participant that we've had. I will say, any of you would be lucky to have Davon in any circumstance. He is a standout, and you should all look to him and say, what's the magic that works? I have the 2 people here who run the Green Team on our end tonight, Nick Guntley and George Pizzania. I credit them fully with the growth in our program and with the partnership with GOSO. And when they came into my office and they said, we'd like to hire one of the GOSO interns seasonally, I couldn't have been more excited. When they came back in about 9 months and said, he's so fabulous, can we bring him on full time? It was outstanding. When they came back in after we'd lost one of our managers, in fact, the person who managed our workforce team, they said to me, we think we have a candidate right here who can fill that position. And that's Davon. And sometimes I look at Davon and I sort of wish maybe some of my other staff had his work ethic and his sense of achievement and where he has to go with his life. So thank you all very much for this recognition. We are so proud of all of our participants, and in particular, Davon.